Hello and welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019, and we're continuing to move forward through yet another season together. As always, you can find our 100% free, 24/7 boots on the ground Jaguars content when you follow us on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. You can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Alright folks, welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. Today we are going to be talking about a few guys who, in my opinion, will be absolutely pivotal for the Jaguars down the stretch over the next 6 games. I'll be writing, something on this as well, but these are guys who, obviously, Trevor Lawrence is important to the Jaguars' playoff push. Obviously, Josh Hines-Allen, etc. But some guys who I think just really will be, the meat and potatoes, nitty-gritty of what helps the Jaguars potentially get to the playoffs for the second time in the Trevor Lawrence era and for the third time in the Shad Khan era. Almost happened in 2023. Ended up obviously being one of the biggest disappointments in franchise history. A major collapse. They were 8-3 and then missed out in the playoffs. That does not happen very often, but it happened here, and that regime never really recovered from it. Jaguars are now chasing success in the first year of the Liam Cohen era. Now, I firmly believe, somebody asked me where I had the Jaguars at this point in the year in my preseason predictions, and I went and dug it up, and somebody reminded me that I had the Jaguars going on a disastrous December. Which I read it and I was like, what are you talking about? Then I opened the article and I had them losing every game in December and losing 3 in a row. They lose to the Jets and stuff like that. Obviously, I would feel differently about it now. But I had the Jaguars at 9-8 this season, and I had them at 6-5 through 12 weeks. So they're on better pace than I had them for. I mean, if they can hit double-digit wins, that's obviously absolutely fantastic. But they will need certain guys to really step up and make sure that happens. Just to name a few, Cam Little, I think, probably starts the conversation. Had a very good game against the Arizona Cardinals. 2 big 52-yard field goals. Continues to be really consistent since the bye week. He's made all his extra points. He's 8 of 8 on field goals with several 50-plus yarders in there. Obviously, hit the NFL record against the Las Vegas Raiders. I think he is kicking better now than he ever has. Which, that's kickers, I guess. It's not manufacturing a narrative to say that he was struggling, when people were kind of questioning what's going on at the kicker position. And that's externally. Internally, it definitely seems like they never did. It seems like he's one of Liam Cohen's favorite players, actually, as opposed to him ever having any major long-term concerns with Little. But he did go through a real struggle stretch. He did deal with a rough patch, I'd say, from week 3 through the London game against the Rams, where he did not look like Cam Little. Over these last, 4 games, he's looked pretty dang good, people. He's looked fantastic. It looks like he's kicking it as good as he ever has. I mean, Chuma Edoga doesn't get a hands to the face against the Houston Texans. And he might have a game-winning 60-something yard field goal, I believe. It would have been 61 yards, something in that range. Potential game-winning field goal on his resume. And it's hard to think that he wouldn't have made that kick. And the Jaguars, when they get to these points at the end of games and at halftime, it just feels like they are playing so much, they are able to play such a different game than the opposing team because their kicking range is different. They're one play away from being in his world. So I think he's been absolutely massive for them since the bye week. Had another really good game against the Arizona Cardinals. It will be paramount for him to continue kicking well, especially as they play a few tough road games in Indianapolis, Denver, and obviously, now they are in the home stretch of the season. This is where, the real teams are separated from the others. And if he can consistently perform at the high level he's been performing at, Jaguars have a dangerous weapon on their hands that not every contender has. I mean, if you walk into the playoffs with Cam Little on a heater, that's a dangerous thing to have in the postseason. So I believe that Cam Little is paramount to what happens the rest of the season. Defensively, I'm going to go Danny Strigow. I have been impressed by Danny Strigow these last 3 weeks. I really have. Like, leaving the preseason, I thought he obviously had a good preseason. He was around the ball a lot. He was impactful. I didn't think, okay, here's a guy who can potentially be, a high ceiling type player at edge. And his ceiling's probably still to be determined. But when I say ceiling, I'm factoring in, the fact that he was an undrafted free agent, the cost, etc. He looks like a guy who should be in their rotation. He very much looks like he belongs. They use him a lot of different ways. He plays with really good power. He plays tough in the run game. He has a very relentless motor. You saw that on his sack against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think bringing Danny Strigow and bringing Dennis Gardeck and bringing BJ Green onto the field for more plays these last couple of weeks have played a big role in the pass rush looking better. They've added some juice to this defense. And Danny Strigow is somebody who I'm very interested in watching the rest of the season. Now, I'm not saying like he's the next Tony Brackens or anything like that. But if you can get valuable rotational reps on the edge from an undrafted free agent, rookie, that's a great hit for James Gladstone and his scouting department and for Liam Cohen and his coaching staff and Anthony Campanile, obviously. So I'm very interested to watch Strigow the rest of the season. I think, just the fact that edge depth that he has provided, some juice off the edge, seems like somebody who is a really good fit for what the Jaguars like to do up front. I really feel like they ask a lot out of their defensive ends. Like, it takes a lot, in my opinion, to play edge in this defense, and he's done his part, and he's done it well. Offensively, I have to go with Brenton Strange. I know he's a starter, one of their best players. Brenton Strange, to me, is such a key part of what the Jaguars' offense is designed to be. I truly believe it's designed for run, play action, explosive play. That is where they have looked their best this year. Brenton Strange, he is a force in the running game. You can use him in a variety of ways. You can use him off the line. You can use him on the line. You can put him in motion. You can have him do split blocks. You can use him as an insert. You can do really whatever you want with Brenton Strange as a run blocker. And then the passing game. He is so athletic and dangerous after the catch. And such a safe target. I mean, I don't think he's dropped a pass all season. In terms of efficiency, he's been by far the best target Trevor Lawrence has had this year. And I think when you look at what he can add to the entire offense, I'm not sure they win that game against the Cardinals. For instance. I really think Brenton Strange played a massive factor in that win happening. I think he's going to play a massive factor moving forward. When you talk about guys who are mismatches, guys who can just raise the offense's floor, and he's one of them. And I said that before the game. Some people were like, you're talking about him like he's an all-pro, etc. And it's not that, but he's clearly a talented guy. And clearly this offense plays a lot better with him on the field. Thank you guys for listening to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. Be back next time.